Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead. We are going to go feed these calves their bottles, and I wanted to discuss a little bit about the video I just did today about Elder Gong's Liahona article. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video if you like it, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Come on, it's time for a bottle. I'd love to hear what you think. Right here. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Yeah, there you go. You found it. Good job.
She has a hard time eating that high up. Maybe not.
No, she'll be fine. If you don't know, bottle calves, you're supposed to feed them so that their heads are like up and not down. I can't remember exactly why that was, but I think it has something to do with
their belly getting bigger.
Yeah, they won't get pot-bellied. So anyway, so if you saw that video that I did, basically Elder Gong was talking about building Zion in preparation for the second coming. And I just want to do a little mental exercise on this, okay? I really do believe that Zion consists of essentially celestial level people, right? And we know that during the second coming, like during the millennial reign of the Savior, the only people that are going to be around are celestial level people, or in other words, Zion, and then terrestrial level people. And then everyone that was celestial, they are going to be gone. The earth is going to be cleansed. There isn't going to be any more celestial people hanging around. And if you saw the video, or you've seen some of my other videos, I do believe that, you know, when you study what psychology calls narcissistic personality disorder, as well as the other toxic personality disorders, that essentially that's simply science's way of describing the phenomena of evil and studying it, right? Because science doesn't believe in God, or it doesn't allow for God. It's all objective, it's secular. So when you have like these really chronically disordered people that are just like all the time, every second of their lives, basically doing bad things, they're not going to be like, well, the diagnosis here is evil, right? So when you study what psychology has researched over the years, you basically get an understanding of the mechanics and the patterns of evil personalities. And so Zion is really, really something to be hoped for. And it's something that I dream about, because I view it as a society of truly pure in heart people. People that are on the opposite side of the spectrum from narcissism and toxic behaviors. People that are empathic, that have charity, or in other words, the pure love of Christ in their hearts. They care about other people. You know, basically a society of really good people. And the thing I want to point out is that not everybody inside the church is Zion, right? Now, none of us are perfect, but there are, and I, you know, at risk of repeating myself again and again, we do have wheat in the church and we have tares. Even though we have people that have been baptized, they've gone to the temple, there are people that are tares in the church. They're basically imitators. They're going to church for all the wrong reasons. Now, is she all done?
Yeah. You got the guinea?
Yeah, I do. Oh, there's still just a little bit in here, so we'll let her finish up. So, we know that we have this parable, and that even though we have people in the church that look like genuine disciples of Christ, they're not. And I have all sorts of personal stories that I could share. I'm going to go in here in the chicken coop, then I'll meet you later, okay? Let's go into the chicken coop while I finish up my thoughts here. That door's a little bit heavy. Not really heavy, just kind of hard to open. We already have some people coming in here, and some chickens coming in here and ending their day and getting ready for bed. So basically, I mean, it's also the parable of the 10 virgins, right? Half of the virgins were ready, half of them weren't for when the bridegroom came. And there's plenty of other scriptures that you can point to. So when that day comes, that there's the separation, it's going to be a sad and a tragic day. Definitely tragic for those that don't make it into the millennium, and tragic for those of us that love them, right? Because even though, you can have people that are jerks in your lives that always mistreat you, that don't really love you back, you still love them, right? Especially if you're an empathic person and you have the love of Christ in your heart, you love everybody, regardless of what their true nature is. So it's going to be a sad day for a lot of people when that occurs, but it is going to come, and there is going to be essentially a judgment day for the telestial level people, and the earth is going to be cleansed. And so what I want to kind of consider with that is, when these people are gone, it's going to make a huge difference in the world, right? Let's put aside the fact that Christ is going to be here and there's going to be amazing things happening. Like, if we take the world right now, and if there wasn't like a second coming going on, if just somehow we were able to remove all the toxic people from off the earth, or in other words, all the telestial level people, how much different would our lives be right now? Because the behaviors that they engage in cause so much suffering, and they affect every aspect of our lives. Laws are invented to try and control these people, because you have people that'll cheat, that'll steal, that will manipulate in every conceivable way. How many laws would not even exist if it weren't for the need to control these people and to stop them and to punish them and dissuade them from doing what they want to do? They're also very, very competitive in nature, right? Because like I was pointing out in the other video, we're living in a fallen state, and the state of the world right now is it's all about competing against everybody and everything. It's about eat or be eaten. It's about rising to the top. It's all about the law of the jungle. There's not much room for being nice to others. There's not a whole lot of benefit if that's the level that you're at, and that's the level that toxic people are at. They only have really room in their lives for themselves and not for others. And even though they may do things like get married, go to church, they don't do it for the right reasons. There's a lot of people that get married simply because they need to fit in, and it's a social thing. They get social benefits from getting married. Consider someone that is born especially like in the church, right? Because we really value marriage. And in order to be considered a member of the church that's on the right path, whoa. In order to be considered a member that's on the right path, we know that we need to get married, and it's not necessarily going to happen for everybody in this life. So, but we need to get married, and we need to get sealed for time and all eternity, because that's how you obtain the highest degree of glory in the celestial kingdom. Well, that's one of our honest, true, genuine values. And if you are born into an LDS community and you need to fit in socially, if you determine that that's going to benefit you as a narcissist to camouflage in and wear that costume, then yeah, you'll need to get married, right? Because that's one of the things you have to check off the list in order to fit in. So we know that there are people out there that get married, but not for the right reasons. And that's not going to happen anymore. There's not going to be any more. There's that goose again. I'm trying to do a video right now, so I would really like if you didn't do that. How about you go inside? It's time. It's almost time for bedtime. There's the 5 guineas over there. They're still doing really good. Okay, maybe I'll just go over here. Are you gonna stop? So we're not gonna have to worry anymore about imitators that view you as simply a tool that they can use. And that is how narcissists view people. They view people for their utility and how they can use them, right? They don't really view people as people. they look at people as either something that they can use or somebody that they can associate with and therefore raise their own status. So when this happens, when we achieve like a true community of Zion and there are no more infiltrators among us, it is just going to be heaven on earth. Literally. Just simply because you're not going to be dealing with people that try and diminish you, people that try and manipulate you, people that use you for their own ends. It's gonna be incredible. Think about how things go right now. Like in any given situation, any given organization, any given group of people, you always have the narcissists that try and work things their way, right? And sometimes they group together in little alliances, and there's different types of narcissism, but you have like the people that'll group together, the cool people, and they instantly form a bond, and then make sure to exclude everybody else. Or in other words, cliques. How many times have you seen that in your life? Whether you were in school or even if you're just like with a bunch of strangers, like maybe you get a new job and you're all in the same training class. You instantly have the narcissists that are more like the social ones that will start to click together, and they'll establish basically kind of like a pecking order. It's all about a pecking order, right? But we know that that's not going to exist during the millennium. There's not going to be people that have that frame of mind, that feel like they need to exclude people in order to feel special and exclusive. that's going to be gone. You know, there's not going to be competition for status or even for resources, right? There's going to be a lot more kindness. You know, another thing that I kind of think about, you know, and I don't really take a whole lot of joy in it, but we do, you know, there is reason to believe that polygamy will probably be reinstituted. And the reason why I believe that is simply because we're about to go through essentially a depopulation event, right? There's going to be, I don't know how many, like I don't know what the percentage is of the world population, but there's going to be like a huge depopulation event essentially. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think that we should be surprised if the Lord reinstitutes plural marriage. Wow, you guys are being loud. Okay, so I guess I know now how loud guineas are. Are you guys gonna go inside? It's time for bed. It's just about time for bed. You can stay out here for a little bit longer, but it's gonna be time to go to bed in just a little bit. So, yeah, we're gonna be going through this depopulation event, and we know that the Lord made this world for us, and there's gonna be plenty of room for everybody, and we have the commandment to be fruitful and multiply, right? Now, a lot of people, I know there's a lot of women that dread plural marriage, and I completely understand, because if it was the other way around, like, I wouldn't be too hot on the idea. But I've actually thought about this quite a bit, you know, because I want to imagine what it would be like for my wife, or like if we end up doing that, or for anybody else that has had to or is going to go through that. I've thought about what is it that makes plural marriage bad, right? And this is another thing that I think has to do heavily with narcissism. If you are the one that ends up, like your spouse is the one that gets multiple partners, right? And you're one of those partners. Well, you're instantly, not maybe intentionally, but just kind of naturally, you're in like this kind of competition, right? Because there may be competition for the spouse's time, affection. You know, not everybody's going to be the same. Like everyone's relationship with the one spouse is going to look different, right? Because we're all individual. Well, you know, if you look back to the days of Brigham Young when polygamy was going on, you know, that was a time when we had all the different types of people. We had celestial, terrestrial, and telestial people all together. And undoubtedly, some of these plural marriages, you probably had some narcissists. And they're going to cause a lot of strife, because narcissists are all about competition and being the top person, right? So if you're like a narcissist wife, you're probably going to invest a lot of time in, well, I guess it depends, because they're all individual, but there's going to be some that would probably invest a lot of time in making sure that they look pretty, or that they steal time away from the other wives. If you've ever watched, what's that show called? The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, you know, you can kind of get a sense, maybe a little bit, of what things would be like. Of course, it wouldn't be that silly, because they're all singles and they're in dating mode and stuff like that. But some of that behavior would probably be present in a plural marriage when you have narcissists involved, right? Narcissists play all sorts of games. They always try and they always try to lift themselves up and then put those around them down. So yeah, that's going to be a really bad time. And I'm sure that there's been a lot of marriages that had to deal with that didn't really truly understand narcissism like we do today, because there's a lot more information about it than there was back then. There probably was a lot of suffering. But on the flip side, imagine this. Imagine that you're entering into a plural marriage with a bunch of empaths, with a bunch of people that have actual love in their hearts, that care about others, they have the love of Christ. I think a lot of those concerns might go away, because not only are you going to try and nurture your relationship with your spouse, but you're also going to want to help the other ones too as well, and you're going to want to develop relationships with them, and have harmony. And harmony is something that narcissists do not do. They do not do harmony. They basically bring chaos and discord everywhere that they go. But can you imagine if you didn't have to worry about competing with your sister wives, and you were actually all really good, loving friends, right? Imagine the really fun family activities that you could have, because you'd have like this big family with all these children. People could take turns watching the kids. Say that some of the wives want to go out and have some fun, and then some others stayed back and watched the kids, and then maybe, and then they switched, and then the other ones took a turn going out and having fun. Imagine the really fun family activities that you could have with that kind of family, where everyone is just being loving people. They're not competing. They're not causing drama. They're not trying to steal time away. They're trying to be fair. They're caring about everybody. Think about, if you got sick, as a plural wife. Not only would you have your husband to take care of you, but you'd have the other wives too. Just honestly, I think it could be like a really beautiful thing if you just take the narcissists out of it. I think that is going to basically happen. That it's probably going to come back. But the thing that's going to be great is that when it happens during the millennium, if it happens, you're not going to have to worry about narcissists being around. And you're probably going to have a very harmonious situation where people are not in competition mode, where you love absolutely everybody and care for everybody. Now, like I was saying before, and I've talked about this in other videos, I don't think that everyone in the church is going to end up going into the millennium. And it's going to be a really sad thing. There's probably going to be children, parents, brothers, sisters, and even spouses. And the sad reality is, and everybody knows this, women are better than men in general. Women are better than men in general, even according to psychology. Psychology has determined that narcissism tends to show up more in males than females, right? And we do, now don't quote me on this, but I think that there is reason to believe that in the pre-existence most of those that followed Satan were male, if not exclusively. I'll have to find like the sources for that information, but I know that I've heard that before. I don't know if it's true, but I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Men struggle a lot more with narcissism than women do, and that's not to say that there aren't narcissist women, but when this depopulation event happens, there's probably going to be a lot of really good women out there that are left without a husband, and possibly shocked simply because they didn't understand narcissism, because narcissists are really good at tricking people into believing that they're normal people or that they're good. And I know people that are in marriages that, it's like they can partially see what I'm talking about whenever we have conversations about narcissism, and they see it in their spouse. But they're in the fog, and they can't see clearly, because narcissists essentially they'll train you, and they'll put ideas into your head. It's like they're like a computer virus or like spam, and they install themselves into your head to the point where you don't even like know what comes from you and what comes from the narcissist. So it's probably going to be a shock to a lot of people, but I'm picturing that there's probably going to be a lot of sisters that are left without a husband when this happens, right? Because I read that article that had Elder Bednar's talk in it, and he was talking about wayward children and parents, and then the stealing power, and how essentially the stealing power doesn't guarantee that you're going to have that person after this life, or at least that it's not a guarantee that they're going to receive exaltation or enter into the celestial kingdom. You may still have that association with that person, but they're going to go to whatever the appropriate kingdom of glory is for them, whether they were celestial or terrestrial. So there's probably going to be a lot of marriages that basically discontinue, and I think there's even evidence for it in Isaiah, because I think he talks about how in that day there's going to be, like 7 women that take hold of one man and say, "Let us be called by your name. We'll work for our own bread, and we'll take care of ourselves, but let us be called by your name." And I've heard people kind of argue against that's not what that meant, but I think it does, because I'd have to research it more, but if I recall, it is talking about the last days and the things that are going to happen. So in other words, I didn't mean for this to become like a polygamy video, but I do have reason to believe that that's probably going to happen. But if you're someone that's worried about that, I would encourage you to not be worried, because the people that would join your family, most likely you're going to have love and compassion for them, for those women, because they've been used and abused. If you're married to a narcissist, you have been abused. It may not be physically, although it could be, but definitely psychologically. Humans are not made to be used in the way that narcissists use them. It's not natural. They mess with your mind. They brainwash you, literally. Of course, that depends on you and how strong you are, and if you can see through their stuff. But narcissists will brainwash those around them. So you're going to have a bunch of poor sisters that are left without a spouse. And I'm sure that at that time, especially if we're translated, you're not going to have those natural fallen man tendencies to be jealous and possessive, and you're going to be using your heart, and you're going to see a bunch of your sisters that need a family. You know, they happen to marry a jerk and someone that misrepresented themselves, and now they're left without a family, and you're probably going to want to take some of them in. I don't want to put words in your mouth or say what's going to happen, but I'm just saying that I don't think it's going to be bad like some people imagine. And you have to take that into account, that we're not going to have narcissists around to make things horrible. Again, whether it's within a plural marriage or just society as a whole, if all you have around is empaths and even terrestrial level people, things would become heavenly. Because all the things that narcissists do just make this world what it is. I don't think that we can even comprehend how different the world would be in every aspect of life if all the narcissists were gone and all the telestial level people. There probably hardly wouldn't even be any crime. You know, it's not that empaths can't commit crimes and so-called normal people, but I think they're a lot less likely, especially if there aren't any narcissists around. So that's pretty much it. Didn't mean to upset you if this kind of made you upset. I know it's a touchy subject. I wasn't even intending to like talk about it really. I just wanted to kind of talk about how different the world will be when we've achieved Zion and we go through the cleansing of this world before the second coming. So, leave your comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, and I'll be doing a lot more content. I'll be doing a lot more Liahona articles, church news, signs of the times, talk more about narcissism, and homesteading, of course. I'll talk to you later.